Okay, let's try this again. Let's try this again. Because we had so many problems yesterday. But let's try this one more time and see if today at least we don't have to go into problems. Have the problems that we had yesterday with the sound, with the network, with everything. So please let me know if there's any problems that you hear from your side, guys. Comment down, man. Get on good comments and tell me what you guys are thinking. Anyway, welcome everybody to another episode of the Overthinking Football Show. My name is Mokwena. I am your host, and this, of course, is a place where we love South African football. We love African football, and today we're going to be speaking about something very deep. We're going to go back to the format that we've had before since we are in international break. We're not doing reviews every single day. We're going to speak about some of the burning topics that are happening in South African football. And if you have not been watching the news, Tidiela from Black Leopards has come out and said, hey, Matu Madlala has been acting CEO of the PSL for the past 10 years. How are you still acting up to that point? And then also, financials of the league were released where, yes, there's been more revenue. Yes, the teams have gotten more money than they've ever gotten before, but profits are down from, I believe, a 33 million to a 2 million operating profit that we have in the PSL. And I want to ask two questions today. We're going to have a conversation about two things today. Number one, are these the warning signs that maybe we're getting a bit long in the tooth in terms of our leadership? Is this the sign? Some of the signs that are showing that maybe we should start questioning Abu Khrotman. I've said this before that Abu Dr. Ivan Khoza, Abu Dr. Kaizer were incredible at the beginning of this league run, the PSL era, 1996. They went out and they changed the league. They created a league. They forced their way out of a previous league. They forced their way out of certain contracts with SABC to do incredibly innovative things with supersport. But now it seems as though those things are catching up, and maybe Dr. Ivan Khoza, we have to start asking questions about whether he is still in the right health to be able to run the league, and should he not be in the right health, or should he want to step aside? Who is going to step in, which is going to be the second part of the show, the second hour. We're going to be discussing who can step in. Who are the people who are going to come in after Dr. Ivan Khoza and what Dr. Kaizer leave, and are they ready? Do we trust them? Do we know them? Do we want them? That is what we're going to be discussing today. So we're going to start off with a very simple part of the topics. Let me just get the topic up. Yeah, man. Give me a second. Hey, technology, Leona. Okay, there we go. So we're going to start us off with the question that we're going to start with. Guys, problem is that you think your viewers are NPCs. Okay, feel free to request and you can jump in and we can have a conversation. So much for don't player characters. You actually can jump in. That's the point of the show. Bottom of your screen on TikTok, there's a multi-guest button, blue figure hugging a pink figure. You click on that, I let you in, and you can join me in the discussion of what we're speaking about today. And then, of course, also remember how the show works. 4 segments. We're going to have 4 panels, 5 people in each panel. Each panel is going to get 5 minutes to speak. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to just tell me what you're thinking. Then allow me to ask you a question so that we can have a proper discussion here. So guys, feel free to request and jump in, and let's have a conversation on Yasaba Angaz. I just want to make sure that this thing is opening actually, so that there isn't an issue when people have to come in. Oh, Sazi, you've just arrived. Guys, topic for today. Are the current leaders of the PSL showing a little bit of weakness that maybe we should be questioning Abu Khrotman right now? Maybe they're getting a little bit older in the tooth, long in the tooth, as I was saying. Okay, let me just do this. Long in the tooth, as I was saying. Or do we still let them go? Then in the second half of the show, we're going to speak about who can take over. I've got Abu Tlopi up there. I've got Abu Sine Zingo Uzungo up there. Abu John Komitis and Abu Penadi have been pushed out. Tell me how you guys feel about that. How? Are you guys not requesting? Let's Saba today. What's going on, guys? Feel free to request and jump in. while you do that, I will then go on. Okay, so this is my opinion on what's happening. The PSL was always an innovative league. The PSL was forward thinking. Everything was happening. We were moving forward a lot. And I think that came from the freshness and the youth and the almost separatedness that our previous owners and our owners, the old owners right now, had. You know, Dr. Ivan Khoza were willing to get on a plane to fly to Manchester to go figure out what a television deal looks like. How do you structure one? How do you speak about it? You know, Dr. Kaizer was somebody who came from America. Everything we got from America, the Glamour Boys, all of that came from America.
Everything we got from America, the Glamour
that he experienced while he was at Atlanta Chiefs, and he came here and revolutionized what marketing is. You know, what brand building is. You know, how you sell a team. You know, after the fight with Pirates, my dad used to tell me about their afros and, you know, their pants and all of that type of stuff, right? It's born from innovation. But I feel like we've got into a comfortable place. You know, PSL teams, when there were rumors of Dr. Ivan Khoza stepping aside, came out and said, we don't want Dr. Ivan to step aside. We don't want him to leave because he's the one who's making sure that all of us are fed right now. He's the one who's making sure that the deals are coming through. When DSTV dished them at the last minute, it was Dr. Ivan Khoza allowing a call with Betway. The story goes, Prasten, Betway had been contacting Prasten for a very long time. And it was up to Dr. Ivan to open the door and say, okay, guys, you can come in now. What happens when he's gone? What happens when that power is gone? Because that is what has given us most of what we have now. And the other question we need to ask here is, does it help to still have football people at the helm? Does it help to have people that come from football in terms of Abo Mpumi Khoza, Abo Nkosana Khoza, in terms of Abo Kaizer Jr., Abo Jess, Abo Pobi, in terms of Abo Tlopi Motsepe coming in? Can we trust those guys to come with to something different, or do they come from the same traditions that they've created right now? These are the conversations that I want to have today, and I want to welcome Usamu onto the show. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, Baba Oti. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, my brother.
Yeah. I'd like to say hi again. I'm back as a 19-year-old, not a 25-year-old, a 35-year-old. I'm back as a 19-year-old. And yeah, man, I'm very happy to say hi to the chat and say hi to everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
Kana, what do they say? W's in the chat. So let me ask you, as somebody who's younger, how do you view the leadership of the PSL, the older people who are there? How do you view the PSL for yourself?
Always, firstly, and I'd say this as a 19-year-old, whereby in my generation, people really love to watch the EPL, Serie A, La Liga. I really enjoy watching South African football because South African football has given us the biggest underdog names, has given us underrated names. Still, I could say today, the biggest underrated name, the person who never got a national call-up, Kate Lenkis from Maritzburg United back in his days. He was supposed to get his call-up, but he couldn't, because of our suffer back in the time. So I think I'd love to thank EPSL of how it has been into my eyes, because I grew up in an era whereby you'd see Black Leopards, if you get finally in Nedbank. But today you'll never find that phenomenon, because the league is becoming much more predictable. So, and I'd also say that I really love the league. So I think how I see Abantu Abaphezulu, the executives, the only thing that I can say about the executives is that they are doing a good job. But now it's like a system. If a system is being overflooded, the leagues will show. The leagues will show, and they will show to the society, to the media, and everywhere, so that we can speak about it. So if we speak about it, there's a lot of youth intake recently, in my eyes. There's a lot of youth intake. Everyone wants to sign the best youngster, because there's no need of signing a 35-year-old. But there's much more of a reason to sign a 23-year-old who's gonna stay for the club for 2 seasons. Then Pirates gonna boom, Chiefs is gonna boom, Sundowns gonna boom, because the age in South Africa of being a youngster. It's at 23. It's not at 18. It's not at 17. It's 23. That's the saddest part. That if you're 23 years old in South Africa, you're considered as the young person. So I think the league is beautiful, man. Just if we can fix upon the youth intake and we can flood much more of the lower leagues, like Abo ABC Motsepe, like if you can flood there, because majority of stars are from there and are from like deep down, abo SAP, abo into ezinjalo, like they're from the raw leagues and into transitioning to the bigger leagues is going to be hard. So if you can flood the money there, I think, and also we can flood it to grassroots as what they are doing in the GDL.
Who decides at the top? Because you're talking about the average age of players. The average age of executives is 70, 80 right now. The people who are running the league. Do you think that has an effect? Because right now we're looking at profits that have gone down to single digits. We're looking at, sponsors pulling out. We're looking at teams dying almost every year. At least one team dies. Do you think that their age has anything to do with anything that's happening here?
Well, one might say yes, because of you die. You have, like, it's like an old dog with new tricks. You can't teach an old dog a new trick. But I think it's bits of both, because if you can balance it and you can balance the experience and also with the youth, you can get something whereby it can be tangible. Because, okay, can I also speak something real quickly? I'm sorry to take that. If you look at how it's happening in South Africa currently, you look at you look at Relebogile Mfokeng, you look at Mfundo Vilakazi, you look at Mbogazi. Those players right now, Mfokeng is looked upon as the face of Adidas in Africa. Mbogazi is being poached by Nike as a Nike athlete. You find Cellular Make, the Kataza guy. He's PRing for Mfundo so that every child okhula ukuthi ngifuna ukufana njengomfundo Vilakazi, of which that's a good initiative inside the South African spectrum, whereby we are growing brands from young men, not from Abu Saling, no, from young men, whereby people are actually seeing. That's why I think the league is heading to a positive way, whereby you can see there's much more youth intake currently. So yeah, we'll see. I think also, yeah, man, I don't have any words, man.
For time I'm gonna jump in. Let me bring in Mtakababa Velile Dinangwe.
Kunjani baba?
Hayi mangimnandi Velile ungena kule ndaba ngoba abanye they're questioning CEOs, acting CEOs for 10 years. Is it time to question our older our elders?
Ngicela ukuthatha le call ngizobuya after.
Yeah man, okay, back-checker. Let me go to Kumo. Okay, Kumo, for time, Kumo, are you okay? Welcome, my brother.
For time, ilo hona ke reng ke tsena. A sungire hello.
De kiblela Velile.
Oh, radi nangwa.
No, Gimnati. Kumo, you've got Erikis Kansari Tabatao. But you've got a unique view of South African administration. Not from where you sit. Where do you sit with the league right now? Is it time to question the elders?
Nagitsuru o saisa kai khoza, o saisa kai Motaung. Baya kai. I was at the 8 years. Couldn't try to feel like it's by meeting going. I wonder when it comes to SAF and PSL, I think we need a complete overhaul. George, we know how to type Twitter, we know how to send the WhatsApp, voice note. These people are all they're clueless. Yes, we appreciate for what they've done for us, especially Mr. Khoza, for formally for making the PSL like into a brand that is sustainable, that actually makes money. Mara, I wonder, once you become in such a position, you become complacent in, I'm not saying it's corrupt, Mara, corrupt the opportunity is there. So now it starts to become a cartel or even a mafia type of modus operandi. So I think we should have this thing, you can become a dictator over and over. No, man, Sanse revisit them, man. You should only serve for 5 or 2 terms, which is 10 years. Or one, you can't serve anymore. That way, you know, okay, my predecessor will and my successor has to be doing such things. Because of right now, we have CAF, right? And we know what the previous guy did. And we saw what Motsepe is doing right now. So I'm pretty sure if we can get the people like Motsepe, Musaf, and PSL, they can take it up a level because we need that. Because right now, Nahana Falon Fachomiao 2 million, yeah, PSL, because the birthday are high. While there are teams that are selling their statuses because they can't pay their players. At level like at the lower league, people still haven't gotten their 30,000 allowances go foundation. So people have to be selling. Maracho me, Mzala, Swara to me. Wow, Former One. Why can't you give the other people there? So such things, and Awana, it's so sad because he knows he's untouchable. Like you won't do anything to him because of why? He's the Iron Duke. So when it comes to Bukhrot Mane, like your Amdi Lempisane, Mpumi Khoza, Bo Jessica, or even Kopi Motsepe, those are their families, clubs. We can't do much. Get their father's money. So we can't really have a say. We can complain, we can jump, we can scream, we can say we part of fans. We can say
So Kumo, for the last minute here, will it take a revolution? Because we all know how the PSL started. There was a big fight. Dr. Irvin and Dr. Kaizer pulled away, created their own thing. Do you think that it works out that way now? Do you believe we have the type of people who can do that? Well, okay, 2 questions. Do you think that's going to happen again? And do you think that we have the type of people who can pull it through?
I get enough flopokor alenzi serious. Revolution in Kai Thoma, in Kai Yira, Gararlo Bokatang, PSL, what, Lontrapa, like you won't support me. But I think we need it. We need it because of, you can check, look at the comments more. People think I'm playing, and I'm not actually playing. Is it us? We need a regime change. So in order for that to happen, Sanzere, Rokopele, Traore, RFID tips, we really go back in house and apply the same thing to PSL so we can actually see it prosper. George, we've got so many great ideas. We are young. We know how to articulate ourselves well. We've got connections all over. We can take this further. We know what people are craving to have. So my guy, the way khoza Irlanga 96. Later, we can do the same in 2025. You can try to
as long as Kitwarala overthinking football FC for my child.
We're not captured or sharp or so or the VIP events. Relief for paneling, move for Bushongao. That was a river.
Mara VIP Hema boys hates, but it's fine. For time, let me go to Ray. Ray.
Yeah, Mr. OT, how are you?
Madgimnandi, Ray. The money is down, profit-wise is down. I'm a sponsor Balega. I'm a team Ayafa. I'm a CEO. Have been acting for 10 years. How do you feel about the PSL right now? Is it starting to show my cracks? Or Utiman, maybe Melek changes it?
Mr. OT, I didn't hear you. My network was not. Please repeat again.
Is it killing me too? No, Nekere, the profits are down. Go PSL. We've already seen sponsors. There's been problems with sponsors. We see teams dying every year. We saw the Raleigh M things. Matu Madala has been acting chairperson for 10 years. Are these the cracks to show that maybe things must change? executive.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Thanks for the question, Mr. Oti. Yeah, I'm back from suspension. Hey, bang suspended like TikTok, Mr. Oti. Hey, TikTok ayidlali. Hey, bathumbi. Hey, maybe it's been thuka abantu la TikTok, Mr. Oti. Hey, bengibakuthuka abantu mina angidlali, Mr. Oti. Phela hey, i-team yami ngiyayithanda, Mr. Oti. Ngiyayidefend i-team yami. Yeah, man. Yeah, let's go. Let's not go there, man. That's another story for another day. Yeah, yeah, Mr. Oti, I feel like the thing is about like take nothing away from Dr. Evan Costa and no Kaizer. They did so well. They did so well. We give them credit, but I feel like it's time for them to step aside. I feel like we need someone who will come with ideas. I know like from this is my opinion. I feel like we need someone who will come with ideas, who will change the game, who will make it more like very stable. Because right now, Dr. Evan Costa like busy change my sponsors there and there. The thing is does DStv like I think they were here I think 6 years or 7 years if I'm not mistaken. All of a sudden,
3 years.
jiggy like.
3.
What?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Something. Yeah, but COVID-19 since the 2020. Yeah, somewhere there. Yeah, and all of a sudden we hear that okay, now they're stepping aside. For me that was unacceptable. It was totally unacceptable. I feel like maybe DStv was having their problems with the difficulties when it comes to financials, but I feel like that's unacceptable, Mr. Oti, because right now, like we need someone that who's going to make EPSL become more stable, make it have a long-term contract with the sponsors, like let's say Peps, for example, for 20 years, yeah, but Uti like it doesn't change there and there, because right now, I'm crying about my sponsors, busy chopping and changing. I don't like that. Yeah, but also what I love about the PSL, also is the broadcasting, televising it, because it was a good idea, because certain people they can see how PSL, how is it run, how is it okay. This is how it. Right now we are the best top league in a moment, because people they can see this the league is very competitive, and also I like how I'm an agent, how they represent my clubs. Okay, this is how they do it, what, and but the only part I don't like is the referee is not becoming professionals. That's the only part I don't like about when it comes to our PSL
Well,
our PSL in South Africa, yeah.
But
Yep.
then,
Yeah,
Ray,
Mr.
what
Oti.
do you say to people that say it's stable right now? Dr. Ivan Khoza, DStv did what they did. He was able to vumbula Betway paid more money. He's the guy that's making the calls, putting everything together. What do you say to the people that say it's already stable, and maybe if you take out Dr. Ivan, you risk weakening the whole structure?
No, Mr. Oti, it's not like yeah, at the moment it's very stable. But what happens if Betway next season? What happens if they said we want to step aside? Then what? Then man,
Dr. Ivan.
don't man uzobhiza catch high blood manje or ileli ikhehla labantu uzobhiza catch high blood abhiza shake uthi ufuna ama-sponsors then they, because no, Mr. Oti, I don't like that, Mr. Oti, because I feel like Dr. Evan Khoza, I feel like he needs to step aside. I know the PSL is very stable. I know, ngiyamshayela izandla, I give him his flowers, but it's time for him to step aside. It's time for someone to come in and I party PSL. I in the show sponsor vele they stay for too long, for long term. If I speak about the long term, I mean 30 years. without
Okay.
changing a sponsor. Look at La Liga and English Premier League. They know how to keep their sponsors. Yeah.
Okay,
And
but
go.
for time, I'm gonna jump in. Let me go to Udinangwe. Takababa.
Yini kanti udinanga umbiza kabuhlungu nje ngathi uyaconfuse.
Hayi man, ungikhumbuza esinye isikhathi man.
Yazi ukuthi uyaconfuse impela. Uyaphila kodwa bhuti.
No, ngimnandi but Takababa, nayi question. Is it time to question Abu man?
Hey. Ngiqale ngibingelele nakubokhumo la ngoba asaba since babathengisa vele babafaka ebhekini ne-JDR so kuhle ukubabona sometimes babuyile ba-comment la kudala sabagcina. No man. Indaba zama-Hotman it's unfortunate because it's not ayidependanga kithi ukuthi it's time for them to go or what.
True.
Because if you can listen to the previous statements that were mentioned before, the chairman wanted to resign before the last year's elections. He offered to resign, but it was unfortunate that the situation wasn't that good for him to retire at that particular time because of the sponsorships that pulled out from PSL. And then the sponsorship pulled out for reasons, not to say Guti it's because of the failures of the PSL. No. You go to sponsor some multi-choice. And then sometimes I notice people, they tend to combine this thing and make it one, and they're totally different. The sponsorships, the Premier League, the Betway Premiership sponsor, is a totally different contract from the broadcasting rights.
Broadcasting, yeah.
Those are totally two different things. So, in multi-choice and the DSTV, they are a broadcasting channel which their core business is entertainment.
Canal Plus Africa, please.
No, anything such a terms of multi-choice. Nithi Canal fika manje. Even noma kuyi Canal Plus Africa, their core business is not football.
Yeah.
Their core business is broadcasting and entertainment. So we know good what does it include? It includes so many things besides football only. And so it was a business decision for them to pull out of the sponsorship. Even though that sponsorship, we know it was temporary because they come in as a matter of emergency after go pull in. What was the previous sponsor before ABSA Premiership? What was it called? Was it ABSA?
Was it ABSA? It was ABSA for all those years, ne?
ABSA.
Yeah, ABSA Premiership.
Yes, and then Nayo, of which we know ABSA good. Why did it pull out? You and I know because of certain shenanigans that were just happening. Go PSL of certain people don't want to respect what their agreement is all about. So at the same time, we can say that Hotman, they've helped the PSL as a brand to grow. But at the same time also, there were people who were inside who were just trying to destroy everything. Because if you are running a well-oiled machine like this, everyone needs to pull in the same direction, and everyone must think about the benefit of all the clubs that are involved. Because sometimes we see the face of PSL, and then we think Uguti PSL it's only a 16 Premiership club. No, it includes the first division club, which makes them 32 teams.
Yeah.
And remember the financial implications that comes with running of this institution, paying all those the monthly grant for those teams in the national first division, paying all the monthly grants for the teams that are in the PSL, and also making sure the administration of the PSL is also on par with regard to into a standard of any international standards. So angiboni bafeyilile mina, but at the same time, foot corner, yes, there will come a time whereby they have to leave because no one can sit in those chairs forever now and then. Sabakhulile foot at the same time, and I think this is the time whereby we need to see the young ones go. It's just so unfortunate, Yoguti, whether we like it or not. Football business in South Africa is family orientated.
Yeah.
So you look at these teams; they are run by families in most cases. There are few of them whereby this one is run by maybe a company or certain people as a consortium. They just want this. They've appointed this person and so to be, but they are family oriented. We know. You go to Pirates, you go to Kaizer Chiefs, we know well. from security guard up until to the chairman, we know. You go to, you go to, you go to Epitoli Lakona, you know it's still the same, and then you go to Siwelele Nakona, you see people abasondelayo. You go to one Enatale KwaZungu, still the same. They're there. So yeah, it's you go to Black Leopards, the TDLers are running the family, Abantwana bakhona, bo chief and whoever. So it's just the difficulties here for us to be critically identified and said, no, we think who else can run this thing without being attached to these family guys. Because now everyone is expecting maybe Utlopi to step up, or one of the Motaung brothers to step up, or one of the Khoza brothers to step up. And some they were expecting committees, that no committees must step up. There is no way committees must come back here. There's no way.
But before, I want to ask you something while you're here. Is it too big to change? So is it a case of if Sfuru we change the PSL, let's say for whatever reason in the future, is it too big to change in terms of, like you said, Bonke Labantu have been together for 30 plus years. Abantwana bakhona now, but they're going to continue on a lot of those things. Can it be changed from inside, similar with ISAFA?
Yes. No, it's not too big to change. It's just that if we can remove the mentality and the stereotype of associating the brand PSL with this guys as family business. Yes, it is a members association organization, but as long as we can remove the mentality of associating with the family thing, then we can. Because in that way, then we will be welcoming the other ones who wants to take over. Like you had the previous CEO, and there was the CEO of Supersport, Stan Matthews, who also was on the CEO of PSL, who managed to run things smoothly. It's just that he was swaying back by Supersport to come back and be the CEO of Supersport. You've got other guys. We read these things now and then. Who Stan?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm not quite sure good about band. But I know good who committees are there, and that's a good thing. And yeah, I think it is. But it is. And remember, Nakona, if we have to come to the issue of losing of sponsorship now, we have to and understand, Nakona, what led into that. And it's not only the footballing reasons. It's a matter of since COVID. We have to take into consideration the matter of COVID. We have to take it into consideration the matter of the economy in South Africa. How does the economy is performing now at this present moment? And then you cannot even blame them for multi-choice. Multi-choice, they've lost subscribers, not just because people are disinterested in multi-choice.
And they were being bought out.
Yeah, but also remember, like most of the people, they were retrenched. Most of the people, they were unemployed. So if you're going to lose close to 3 million subscribers as multi-choice, surely your business is going to take a knock. And the first thing that you have to do when as a business, you go to, okay, where can I close the tabs first? You close the tabs in the business tab, that's not your core business, of which was football. That's not a core business. Not even today, we don't even have a super sport football club. And then now the only thing that remains that makes sense to them is the broadcasting thing. But
we'll get into that conversation. No, thank you.
Okay,
I think if I can just jump in here, right? I think the problem a lot of the time, again, with our leaders and our structures is that our structures are not created to rotate change. And this is everywhere. The question I was asking, and maybe I'll ask it to the comments, is it too much of a big thing to try and change something from inside? Like, for example, everybody looks at Danny Jordaan at SAFA. Danny Jordaan wins by landslides of votes, which means that you also have to convince all of those people who are in the status quo to also want to change. You look at the PSL, like I said, Chiefs has been family business since 1970. It's Dr. Kaizer. You know, all of these guys. John Comitis has been here since who knows when with Ajax Cape Town. Him and his brothers and cousins, if I'm not mistaken, they even broke off and started 2 different clubs afterwards. You know, but TDL have been running this thing ever since Black Leopards has been there. Mama Tumadlala, I think it was since the 1980s or something like that. You know, it's very hard to try and change those type of structures that have been like that for decades. So I guess this is the big question that I'm asking today, that if they don't decide to change, what do you do from that point, right? And it's not to say that they're doing badly. I'm not trying to say things are going bad and all of that stuff. I'm just asking the question of what does succession look like in the country for the PSL? How do the new deals look like? Who gets to negotiate those things? A lot of the sponsors say they trust Dr. Ivan Khoza. And he's part of the reason, him and Dr. Kaizer are part of the reason why they will sign any deal with the PSL, because they trust specifically those two, not even necessarily the rest of the league. So what happens when those guys leaves? When you have to come in, who's the guy who's going to have, who's the person, the people who are going to have the contacts, the knowledge, the experience to jump in immediately and take it on? These are some of the questions that I guess that I'm trying to answer now. And Malume Kutso, no way. Right now, I'm struggling to go to AFCON. I'm struggling to try and get to go to AFCON. Who's going to negotiate the deals? Me? Never. Anyway, let me bring in Chipo. Chipo, welcome. How are you?
I'm well and you, Mr. OT. How are you?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good. Here's the topic. Is it time to question the Grootmans, and what's the succession plan look like for the PSL?
In actual fact, Mr. OT, I wanted to go exactly on what you were saying. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
On the fact that you've got a group of family businesses coming together, and then you expect that the culture is not transferable. You need to understand that the same teams are run like family businesses, and therefore the same cultures that they have are going to be transferred, no matter even if it's a committee of people coming together. Their ethos and their modus operandi is going to be transferable. You need to understand something, and we need to be very clear to say that they will run their clubs like businesses, but they'll be run like family businesses. And in family businesses, family will always run. That's why you'll find that it's very difficult to change people, because just like many family businesses, there's one head who will always be head, who will always be trusted as the head, and no one is going to change anything about it because he must run the show. This is why, if you were then to say, let us replace the Iron Duke with who? And what are they going to do? Because even if you say, no, we want to make ourselves more internationally acclaimed, we are internationally acclaimed. If you want to say, no, we want to find a way of getting VAR, they're going to be told that, no, VAR is too expensive. So with who and what are they going to do? What are they going to do that the Iron Duke has failed to do? My biggest question is the equality of sponsorship within the league, right? For example, I will be very clear and state that I am biased because I'm a Buccaneer. So because I am a Buccaneer and I support Pirates, I'm biased. But it's unfair. The Pirates has Suzuki, has Vodacom, has this, has that, has Amstel, has this, has that. And then when you go to these other teams and you play against them, you can clearly see from the kit to say, khanye wakamol. Like you can clearly see to say that the standard is not the same. This is why the biggest top 3 teams will always be at the top of the log. Unfortunate for some, didn't go up there. But the biggest top 3 teams will always be on top of the log. And it's because they have the money. It's because they have the financial pool. It is because now, whenever there's a hot youngster, you'll never hear that a hot youngster has been pulled in by TX Galaxy. You'll never hear that a hot youngster has been pulled in by Richards Bay, which is unfair. Which is clearly unfair because it's the same league.
Can I ask you an unfair question?
Yes.
It matters to you, but does it matter to the people that are in the league, the owners that are in the league? Because your TS Galaxy example, Pratim is always trying to sell his players. They speak about cheaper driving players from Eastern Cape to Gauteng to come and sell them. Every time there's a vote that happens, the voting usually goes the same way. Is that a problem that we have as fans and it's just us alone? Or do our teams share these problems that we have?
But that's why I say, because it is an advantage for me, I will never find a problem with it. One of my favorite TikTok videos is one guy, I don't know where he's from. He says that it's only corruption when I'm not involved. So, such as that, to say they will not find a problem with it because I benefit. My thing is, I am saying if we want to be as the best league in the world, which we can be, which we have the capabilities to be, we need to make sure that there is some form of equality. Because the truth is, the minute I find, I'll make a very clear example. There's this one boy I like. He's a defender from TX Galaxy. He played in the place of Mbogazi. I always forget his name. For exactly. I can bet you $500 next season or the next transfer window, he will not last at TX Galaxy. I can bet with you that we can bet serious money that in next season, and imagine, he's in a good team, he's got game time, but I promise you, it's either he's going to come to myself, to Pirates, he's either going to Sundowns or he's going to Chiefs. I can bet 500 rand right with anyone. He's good as gone. He is good as God. And this is how it's done each and every year. We only complain because we couldn't compete with Sundowns financially. That's the reason why we complained at the time, to say, no, Sundowns is being unfair. We can't compete with them financially. Then Sundowns was like, okay, for a bit, let's relax a bit. Even though they haven't, but they're like, let's relax a bit. And then the style came back into fashion to say, we find someone hot, gone. You get someone hot again, gone. I promise you. And then what happens?
For time, though, I'm going to give you 15 20 seconds here.
Let me say, then what happens is, when we get tired of you, just like in London, when we get tired with you, back Marumo Gallants, hacks TX Galaxy, hacks cheaper. Because why? We couldn't use you. And this is the trend that happens.
For time, I'm going to have to jump in. This is an interesting conversation that I want to have.
Thank you, Mr. OT. Thank you so much for the platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm just going to use some of the seconds here, guys. Guys, are your problems your team's problems? I will always ask the same question every single time. You're complaining about stuff, but when it came time for Dr. Irvin, he said, I'm resigning. All of the league guys went, whoa. We like it exactly how it is. Please don't shake the boat. So when Danny wants to go, are we giving the benefit of the doubt to the guys who are under him and saying that, but anyway, let me go to Bongs. Bongs, welcome.
Thank you, OT.
Where do you sit on this topic, Bongs? Is it time to question Bokhrotman?
Yeah, it's time to question them because they're getting into the suffer part of this topic. Just recently, we're losing 3 points because of our administration. Doesn't that question the fact that this Hotman can't do their job properly because they couldn't deal with the fact that we lost 3 points as South Africa in a crucial qualifier campaign for the World Cup. We also had this other 1 year, 2022, where we failed to fight against a mistake which was done by the referee. Our administration didn't even bother to fight it. Another one was the case in the women's side of football, was the case of the coach. They couldn't even find common ground with Coach Desri to pay Coach Desri what Coach Desri deserved as a coach. Even after Desri even got us to a World Cup for the second time and also won us an AFCON. We were also struggling to even qualify to previous World Cups. In 2018, we didn't qualify. In 2014, we didn't qualify. 2010, we only qualified because we were hosts. And we didn't even do well as hosts. We became the first team in the history of football to be the first team to host and be eliminated out of the tournament. In 2006, that's where everything started. We didn't even have youngsters in that time. We only recently had youngsters not so long ago, and we are not working towards building them, because now we are still calling old players to come and play. The coach is also crying for players like Bo Tembazwane, while we still have the player Shandre Campbell to be given a chance so that we can have a future for our football. So this is why I feel like Bo Khotman tshwantse ba tsamaye.
Mara ba tlo tsamaiswa keng bongs ba tlo tsamaiswa keng ka bane it feels like tshwantse go lwaniwe because a se bo Grootman fela ba kodimo ke bo Grootman ba bangata all over and le ba ba lwanang ke bo Grootman go bua bo Tidiela now that family has been Grootmans for a long time ka bo Safa ke bo ba Mriya le Twaba who are also Grootman. Hey, is it just ba tlo tloswa keng?
Bo Lucas Radebe ba tryile ho take over this Safa bo Esinqoba ba lekile, but every time they try to take over re utlwa di story tsa gore no, they've pulled out of the running to become Safa presidents. So we wonder to ourselves, what is Danny Jordaan doing to stop them from trying to take over from his job? Because ra di utlwa di story tsena tsa gore no, bo Sekgwale le bona ba lekile ho ba Safa presidents, but nobody is trying to challenge Danny Jordaan. So we don't know what's going on in the offices.
Do we know who's the Xbox? Do we know? Can we as the people outside give any power to anyone, or is it just we have to wait for them to change?
I think we need to now, as the fans, we need to stand up and want change, because change can't happen alone. We need to also support those who want to make change there at the top.
Okay, Boggs. For time, I'm going to jump in. Let me go to Tangaman. Tangaman, welcome. How are you?
Hi, OT. I guess I'm well and good. How are you, bro?
I'm off, man. Now, sonke sikuti, man. Tangaman, ungena bulendaba. Where are you sitting with this chat we're having?
I'm afraid. I mean, ngiyanizwa nje OT. I almost said brati. Since ngikhuluma ngabo bra, abo Grootman. But Buffett, here we've got two elements or two issues.
Okay.
One of them is an issue of Africans in general. You know, when it comes to Africans and power, you know how they behave. Hence, you have countries who've got a president who's 96. I'm talking about the president somebody who has served more than 8 years or 8 terms in the office.
Yeah.
So, and I still don't understand what makes South Africans to think that until the only thing that may be a solution when I'm OT is to say, make it constitutional to say there's no Safa president that is gonna serve more than 2 terms, and the PSL as well. You see, once you do that, then that's where you can then have this element of keep on reducing or eliminating them one by one. But as long as it's still open, you must forget about it. And remember, it's not like they don't think there's anyone who's gonna do better than them. But it's just that but if ngiyavaya mzala ngiyaphi ngizokwenzani after yabo but Africans there's I even wrote down that when it comes to Africans and governance, I believe we're not made to be leaders, to be honest. Not unless it's a war, yeah, we qualify, but governance, guys, let's stop playing. And the two, let me put it this way, and this is not an issue of a Grootman OT. It's an issue of all the generation. Would I trust somebody who's young, who's 30, to run PSL? Hell no. so now we're OT. I don't think there's anyone out there who will say no. They will say no. You'll put your money on good. No, with this one, I know this one. Things will the governance here. There will be order administration was. We're not gonna have this situation like somebody played with a yellow card did not supposed to play. What hotels are not booked? It's just a mess. It's just a mess.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you in a minute from now? Why is it different? So, for example, you look at ASC companies. Most of them are family businesses. Why do we look at them different than the PSL? And should we have questions when we don't question most of the big companies that exist right now that are family businesses?
No, I wanted to come to that point, OT, to say, it's a contradiction, by the way. When you look in football in general, I'll ask everyone who comes to this panel to say, in all these leagues, Italy, who has been dominating Italy?
Yes, historically, AC Milan, Berlusconi's teams back then.
Yes, kuna rotation dapan. There's no rotation. And whereas Spain, even like Egypt, Egypt, I mean, we have known about the Ahly. I mean, I think I was still at high school knowing about the Ahly being dominant. They are still there. So this thing of thinking good, we must share space in football. It's a survival of the fittest. So every man for himself. So it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen until Obo Sugas. I don't know how. I can't advise them until they work hard through. Apart the issue, there's an issue of numbers as well. Well, your sponsors they shift, but if you've got numbers, then you don't have numbers, Mzala. So and I can tell you this for free. When all these games the PSL are playing and the Chiefs is playing on same time as well, the Chiefs will be 202. Your Pirates so itwala phana go 209. Iyancengiswa nje abomzala. So it's an issue of numbers, OT. Numbers play. Yeah, no, numbers decide.
Yeah, for time.
Who must
for time, Takamani. Takamani. Well, besides the numbers, if I could just steal a few seconds, guys, Tim Sugazi is an executive member. Currently, he's an executive member. That's why I asked the question, Guti, you have a problem, or you see the thing, or you see TS Galaxy maybe having to do some more. Does he see it that way? And can you trust the inside people that are already inside to be the ones that lead a revolution? Let me go to KB. KB, welcome. How are you? Oh, KB, can you guys hear me? Are you with me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, well, I'm going to go KB, then I'll come to Kabelo. Sorry, KB Mask, then Kabelo. So, KB Mask, tell me, where do you sit on this? Welcome.
Bitso, sorry, Bitso. Babitsa KB, we're not like an aft. So, mfete ba re ke kgome mosato, I hapa molato, I tloela molato. There's no better answer. And I like how you said it before, Hore. Sometimes when it comes to businesses and for sustainability, longevity, and exposure, you then look at who's the brand, who's been running the show, what have they achieved, and then the question would be, am I willing to risk all that? And then secondly, you replace, then it's a question of, do we have better or suitable candidates to fill in the shoes? Or are we just going to do it just for a sake, or no? These people have been running this show for quite some time. And then are we in a position to say, can the PSL then take an impact? things go wrong. Because there will always be that if. Because remember, I can run a business. You get someone that is able to run a business for so many years, but then that person is not qualified, academically so. You replace him with someone that has honors and degrees and everything, but lack experience in running the ship. He takes the reins and he doesn't run the business as the person who was previously running the business, but unqualified. So how do you strike a balance between the two? I think in a similar scenario, I would say perhaps to run a PSL, we just need to leave our emotions aside. I know everyone has some sort of entitlement or the right to raise their own opinions. But then when you start talking about PSL, you need to look at it as a business perspective and to make profit. Or for the past 30 decades, under the leadership of these people that are currently running PSL, what are the results? Are we making money? Is PSL advancing? And if the answer is yes, it's making profit, we're advancing, we're attracting sponsors, then what is the reason for you to change leadership? Because you cannot break something or fix something that is not broken. And then at the very same time, like I said before, then you look at their age now to say, but then no, this means as much as they're running their ships, everything is right. But then age is now going to work against them. Then I think maybe it could be a time or an opportunity where we need to fuse them with young blood. Okay. So that the young blood can now start learning from their reigns so that they get advanced or may prepare them mentally so that when it is time for them to take full ownership of running PSL, they know exactly what to do.
Does it matter who the young blood is? Because I feel like when we say young blood, we speak as though, it's these external people that are coming in fresh, when it's probably going to be the people that are in line right now that we've seen already following the status quo.
It's a good question. And I think the best way to answer this, OT, will be just, because one thing that I've noticed about PSL, and you raised a good point in saying, the sponsors tend to look at the big three, the big brands, but then you look at the comfort zone of these other PSL teams that we have, ne? Because background is grant a man that can sustain them. You tend to look at these chairmen of these young clubs or small clubs. Mokwena, he will just settle or no, at least every month I know I'm getting a grant of 500,000, at least it can push me as long as my job now or my objective is just to remain in PSL, make sure that I don't get relegated. People will settle for that to say, as long as I get my 500,000 a month, I know I can pay my staff, I can manage to run the club, and then they're just happy with it. Whereas we need people that are there to challenge what is, because the reason why I'm saying this, last season, there was an issue where they had to go for an annual general meeting, if it was, but there was a general meeting where they had to change leadership. And what Chairman Khoza did with his Mpinjai Motaung, they've struck 2 deals immediately by increasing MTN 80 from 8 million to 10 meter, by increasing PSL from 15 to 20. And immediately, that somehow secured them to remaining in that position, Yabo Chairman and whatnot. Because immediately after those 2 deals, they still remained because there were more rumors, but no, but substitute, they will be replaced by blah, blah, blah. But then immediately after those 2 deals, they still remained in those chairs. So then you ask yourself, are we playing politics or mind games? What are we doing now? Are we now going to use my expertise to actually pull strings so that I can secure more advanced benefits to PSL, and then that way I
Okay.
can secure my bench.
For time's sake, I'm going to jump in. Very, very interesting points there. But I want to go to the other KP. Come on, welcome to the show. How are you? Oh, KP, the other KP. That is Roka. Okay, we'll see if we can't get KB back on. Look, this is why I'm saying that all of this is very interesting because, you know, on the one hand, yes, you want the changes and yes, you want all of that stuff, but who are you? Who are you to tell me what to do in my house? Who are you to tell me this house that I've built, now you want me to allow outsiders to run this house? That's a valid argument. Maybe I trust the people that I trust. I want the people that I trust to be running this thing. So from whatever happens, mina indlu yami, number one. Number two, I'll take you back in my varsity days. I'm not going to say the party's name, but we were having a discussion about, you know, succession. And you realize that the people who are in line to take over come from, accept, were built in. They were built in the same circumstances and structures. So they share the same ideas, they speak the same, they see it the same, they fight the same. We used to have fights with our SRC to say, our mara guys, nas fanele nala bantu bangali. So that's a big part of this, that when we say youth, what is this youth? You know, is KB going to wake up one day and run Sundowns? Who's he gonna move aside there? Is Patrice Motsepe gonna step aside and say, oh, you know, it's my family's thing, mara zwagala wena tabang to come and run this thing? That's why I'm saying that it's very interesting. And I'm listening to what you guys are saying. I'm going to jump in now because we're going to go into the second part of the show where I actually want us to speak about who are the people who would come in. But here's a comment by Yellow Black Sheep. PSL don't belong to anybody, Jay. They can't make it a family thing, Jay. That's not true. Their families, the teams were built by the families. So you look at Mama Tumadala, for example, her family bought into Golden Arrows in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. It was getting relegated. I think it got relegated in 98, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So I've put my money into this team, and by the rules, the leadership is made up of leadership of the teams, right? The only thing you can do, honestly speaking, if you watch the NFL in America functions similarly. So the 32 teams, the owners sit on the board of governors, which is like a board. Then they've hired people to run the day-to-day. So there's people who just run day-to-day. There's a commissioner. The commissioner and his people have certain golden arrows. I don't know Sundowns. Golden arrows. Golden arrows. There's a commissioner. They run like the everyday things. They trust them. If you need to make a social media strategy, if you need to make whatever, they hire people to run those things. But if we need to negotiate with the players about a collective bargaining agreement, it's the owners that sit down in this thing, for example. So that's the only thing I could see. But to say that the PSL is ours, that's not the truth. It's not ours. It belongs to the teams and their families. It belongs to, according to the rules, it belongs to them. And that's why I'm asking, all of the changes we want to effect from the outside in, let's say, if there are problems, how do you break that family setup? Because it's not just Dr. Irvin, Dr. Kaizer, it's Bob Zungu, you know, it's John Committees, it's the other one who just got relegated right now. It's about Farouk Karodia, who's been around for a very long time with their teams. It's about TDL, who've been around a long time for their teams. It's the Baroka owners, it's this one owners. It's, you know, it's Bob Jomo Piela. All of these people own their teams. All of them sit on the board. It's theirs. It's theirs. But anyway, let me go to Tiro. We're gonna move into the second part of the show, guys. The second part of the show, I want to discuss who is meant to then come in, because there's been talk about both committees, There's been talk about Bob Penadi. Penadi is the Stellenbosch CEO. There's been talk of maybe the younger people, Sne Zungu's there. I have her there. Then I have Utlopi Motsepe sitting there. But there's also Bonkosana Khoza, Bompumi Khoza. There's also Bo Jessica Pobi, Kaizer Jr. Those are the people we're looking at. Or do we have other people that we can bring into here? So, guys, that is where we're going now. Tiro, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Hey, Mr. Ochi.
How are you, my brother?
Good, bro. Ngiyazwakala.
Yes, tell me where you sit on this, especially looking forward. Who are the people? Who should be brought in? What must happen?
This one is tough. This one, I think I just wrote down status that one thing is certain: the PSL must be protected from SAF. Though they are the main administrator, but the PSL, against all costs, it must just be protected from SAF. They can administrate, come with the rule book and whatnot, but then they must just stay away from PSL, SAF. That one for me is just big. Number two, I look at the history, 1996, the founders, to where we are today. If you look at that list, there's only two names, that actually three. Okay, the other one has gone through too many changes, which is the Sundowns. Hands have went in there, left, right, and center. But there's only one. So there's only three names that remain: Pirates, Chiefs, and Sundowns. It is worrying. It is worrying because now, for me, that is why there's a problem with succession. Because how is it that from 1996 to today, there's only three names? There's only three names that are remaining. The other one has been changing surnames left, right, and center. So there's actually two. So it's a problem. How do the succession base overlap? Number three.
You can count Golden Arrows there. I think they're the third most now. That
Where were they back then?
I can't. They were there. Mama has been there since 1997.
You see why? Then you see why she's been acting for 10 years, because it means for the last so it's a problem. And nakona schooling succession. For me, the other day I was just listening. Committees and isn't us no. The other day, I think there was an interview Opera team. Nah, man, his view of what football is to society is problematic. Yeah, his business acumen in football we commend, but then his view about what football is to the masses is problematic. I think he's a risk. Pirates and Chiefs are going to fight at the stadium. I can tell you that. He's going to advocate for animosity in that FNB stadium. And we cannot have people who are advocating that based on where we came from and what we are as a society today. So it's we are trying to break this thing, and it's complicated, unfortunately. And
is it the same as elsewhere in life? I mean, we see this with our politics. We see this with other things. Is it the same thing that we're going to have to maybe hope for Ntate Motsepe, who's rich enough and powerful enough to be able to go above all of this stuff? Is that our only hope, or can there be a grassroots fight?
Yeah, no. Yeah, you see now, for me, I think we are complicating it even more. If you bring back Motsepe and
someone like him, you'd need someone like him.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, let's not put him per se. Okay, someone like him, a businessman in that context, is also palatable to all these executives, because unfortunately now my executive are Team Subas, Piela, Stan Matthews is second. Stan Matthews, and they have their own politics. You see, they have their own politics, they have their own issues, and there's a reason why they keep on calling Dr. Khoza. And unfortunately, rest he has to go rest. No. They have to go rest. So then, what do we do? Because very soon, there needs to be an elective conference foot. So we saw that Khoza food. The old man is already wearing a mask left, right, and center. We can't.
They're gonna shuffle around.
We need new ideas. No, ideas there. Unfortunately, we need new ideas. But then another thing, the business fraternity in South Africa doesn't trust us as black people. Unfortunately, they do not trust us to that level that they can give us those sponsorship. That is why you see certain teams don't have certain type of sponsorships to make them run perfectly. Now I hear you are out here saying Imali has went down from 33 million to 2.2. What's the context there? Because grants had to be added. So to then just say grants went
there's
from
actually
33
more
to 2.
money. There's more money that came in. Supersport paid, I think, 100 million more this year, if I'm not mistaken, than their normal yearly thing. Obviously, there's context for sure.
Exactly what I'm saying. Just teams are struggling. The reality
Okay.
is teams are struggling. And Dr. Khoza unfortunately has the experience to balance this thing from left, right, and center. They keep knocking on his door to say, hey, it's struggling, and he has to increase. Standa Singatandi. He's running a perfect ship. They are not running a loss, which is good for the sustainability of the league.
For time, I
So
want to jump in.
time. Succession. Small.
Let me go to ABM. ABM, welcome to the show. How are you? Yeah.
I'm back. I am back.
Where do you sit
Are
on
you good, my
this
guy?
topic? Mina off. Ngimnandi.
Ngiyakubona. Fair. Yeah, sometimes when you are ahead of your time, on one hand it becomes an amazing thing, and then on another hand it becomes very frustrating. It becomes frustrating simply because people don't see what you see at that point in time. So, in relation to this topic, if you go back even to late last season, ngangafika lana ngathi Ivan khoza makavai. Even early in the season, simply because I have a theory ukuthi Dr. Ivan Khoza, he doesn't necessarily care about the Orlando Pirates as a football club. He only cares about Pirates as a football brand, in which he himself, how he is able to extract as much from the club as possible for his own financial benefit.
Allegedly.
That was my theory. Allegedly.
Yeah, okay, theory.
Now,
no, theory, yeah.
if we carry that theory over to the PSL, and you see the PSL for what it is, can we also say ukuthi Ivan Khoza la khona he doesn't necessarily care about the PSL in terms of progression, and he only cares about the PSL for his extractive purposes? Can we say that? Because Danny Jordaan, he's been there for how long? Isafa hasn't been in tip-top shape. He's been there simply because other people have been voting him in simply because he is pretty much the gatekeeper of that extractive process. So it becomes so eventually has like a trickle down effect. When it gets rotten at the top, everyone gets affected, regardless. So in this case is that it's not even about succession now. My thing is, which is a very, very crazy preposition that I have, is should we dismantle the current system?
Can we? My question is, mine is, can we? And will it come with dismantling the current one or starting a new one?
My theory is we can start it. We can start like another system which goes concurrently with this current system. But then the way that we have to do it is not to say it is not to say okay, Tina, we are leaving and we are gonna start this own thing because it's going to cause like a massive rift. In the very same way, like in the NFL and also in the NBA, where in the NBA they started like their own league and then eventually it started merging into one thing, and then
Same with the NFL, yeah.
And it became what it became. My thing is if if you want to build our own system, I think we can start from the bottom.
Okay.
Starting from the bottom in a sense, Uguti, the clubs, the 16 clubs that are currently in the PSL, these clubs, where do they stand in terms of their projection within the team? Because obviously you've got the big three who are fighting for the league, and then you got the other team, then you got the mid-team tables who are just there just for vibes. You go to Bahole, and then you got and then on the bottom half of the table, you have teams that are fighting for relegation. My thing is, Uguti, what we can do is these mid-level teams, we can start to inject some form of development for the players. You understand? And
Okay.
then with these players, sort of like a boot camp.
20
Then
seconds.
this
Yeah.
boot camp is
30.
going to eventually have a trickle effect onto the team's performance. And then in theory, what might happen is we might have like a change in power. And then with that change in power comes competition, and eventually, hopefully, like in the long run,
Yeah.
it therefore becomes like a very, very like powerful. Therefore becomes like a very, very powerful league, whereby
Okay.
like not like one team eventually becomes
Yeah.
monopolizing it.
For time, I want to jump in. I want to bring in Yellow Black Sheep. Yellow Black Sheep, welcome to the show. How are you?
Saphila njani Prouty?
Mina ngimnandi mara nina ningitshela ukuthi ngifuna bani. But it's okay. Where do you sit on this topic?
Okay, me, I want to start here. PSL doesn't belong to anyone. Because why I'm saying so, it is because when the PSL break away from the other league to form NSL, it was the idea of Kaizer Chiefs and Bamji. And then Bamji became the chairman. And then Bamji, I forget what happened, or he did pass away. Then Mr. Khoza came in. And then Mr. Khoza became the chairman, and then the league was correctly doing well and whatsoever. However, the problem started when we started to need a new ideas, because I saw it with Mr. Committees that we need a new ideas, because by then PSL didn't allow teams to be sponsored by betting companies. And then they went to fight to the court of law with John Committees, and then he won that case. Now the PSL itself, it is sponsored by Betway, a betting company. So it shows you from that time that we are needing a new ideas. We need the new leadership, the people who can lead and take the league forward now with the new ideas. Yes, they did a good thing. They did a good product. They built it. It's a legacy that we need to keep it and guard it with the safe hands. But me, I will say to you, PSL, we need a chairman. And that chairman, I believe, is John Committees. John Committees can be a good a chairman and a leader. He can take a PSL to the greater heights. I saw with a lot of things that he did for Cape Town City in a short space of time, when the Cape Town City break away from what you call Ajax Cape Town. The way he ran, his team was run professionally. Everything was professional. They didn't lack anything. His team was proper. So it attracts more quality players. It attracts more sponsors. It's just that the thing, I don't know what happened leading to those weights that he said he wanted to challenge for a chairman position. Then from that time, I don't know what happened. That's football politics. I'm not into them. And then I want to come to this. I'm happy that Stanley Matthews, he doesn't have a team presently. Not that I want it to be like that, but I'm happy because it has happened. I believe also he can be a good CEO for PSL because he doesn't have a team. He knows the dynamics because he did act before as a CEO, and then he understands the dynamics of sponsorship and whatsoever and everything. Because me, I believe, OT, that we need a new ESCO also, whereby we can have Patrice Motsepe, we can have Mpomi, we can have Kaizer Junior, we can have these owners of other teams, but we need the young people in those ESCO also of PSL, because I think the time of Kaizer and Khoza is China now, because I don't want to lie, they did the great work Today
Do
we are able to talk with our football.
you think
You wanted to say something, sir?
do you think people like Chairman Klopi want to be chairman of the PSL, because Sundowns has a seat in the Exco right now, and it's Dr. Simelade, if I'm not mistaken, who sits in that chair for Sundowns. Do you think they have an appetite for this?
I do believe they have an appetite for this, but the problem is they want to be in the same age, because it is not going to be good to be arguing with the old people, trying to show them certain things that is new things that is happening, which are new trends. So if ever you have Mpomi, you have Kaizer Junior, we have Klopi, then you have the people who got a younger ideas and young mind who will agree oftenly with a lot of things. But now that is why they put the doctor there, because they understand he is in those age of Kaizer and Bontate Khoza. They will argue in the same mind of theirs. But these young guys, they have shown by running Orlando Pirates and running Kaizer Chiefs and running Sundowns that they are ready for these positions, because you can see how the team hasn't fallen in their hands. We can argue with those things, but they haven't fallen. Thank you, sir.
I'm going to jump in. I want to bring in Montana Kosi for Life. Welcome. How are you? Oh, Kosi for Life. Oh, can. Let me see. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Requesta Futi, Montana, I'll let you back in. Velile, second part of the show. So Zwile Uti, Amachitatine, where do you sit now? Ungena ipi?
No, ngisaqhubeka kuyona lena mntakababa, because at sometimes when we have to discuss this issue, especially with regards to the people who are in charge of football, we need to pay attention also to the administration of soccer, not only to who the people we perceive and see or we believe good they can do certain things when it comes to certain positions on clubs. We have to look at the whole administration of the PSL as a whole, as a business. EPSL, still emphasize again, EPSL is a members associations business. It's a totally separate entity from just your PTY Ltd. It's a members associations business. It's like your taxi associations. So which means then the people who have got clubs there, they're in charge of running their own business, which is the PSL. You volunteer to go to PSL. There's no one who built it. They volunteered, all of them, to form this thing. And you now, if you want to get into that business, that's why you're going to start at the amateur level, from the SAFA level, up until you join the professional side of it, which is PSL.
Taking status, man.
Yes, you can even buy a status, but you do anyway. But you are volunteering to go into that thing. You are not forced. You are not. You're not doing anything. So it's like that. And so my point, Mabe said you have to look at running the administration of football before simply minding. We have to look at the holistic general administration and also the rules and regulation of the country. The issue of saying EPSL was refusing the betting companies to sponsor EPSL. That statement is not correct. The issue before was not the PSL. It was a government law legislation for the betting company not to sponsor any sporting code due to its gambling nature and the influence that will have into a sporting code. That was a government policy. That was not the PSL policy. So was the PSL supposed now to ignore the government policy and implement the rules that is not there? That's why things like Amar Cup, your Peter Stuyvesant said music spectacular, said about Dallas Ellis Park, so Bugalabo, Abu Lucky Dube, Bajai, Valabashaba, Yoba, Lucky Dube, on the Peter Stuyvesant National Festival, your Rothman's Cup, your Benson and Hedges concert. The government asked the police not to advertise the cigarette. That's why things like a Rothman's Cup, they are no longer there. That's government, it's not the PSL. So if John Committee tried to force that into PSL, that's why it dragged so long, up until the government changed the policy. Because remember now, when it comes to gambling, sometimes the gambling license is issued according to the provinces, not nationally. That's why you see this issue of now they are fighting with regard to the national gambling, the gambling that is on our gadgets now that we are doing. But how can we allow those things? Because gambling license, when the casinos were introduced in South Africa by in the Bantu stand by Sol Kesnas, the licensing they were issued provincially, not nationally. So when now our own is going to fight us, like the Babase Cape Town, who's in the executive committee, he knows what's happening with regard to the law, and he goes in and fight. You go in and acquire the sponsors of the financial institutions of your team, but you are being sponsored. While the league is sponsored by the financial institution which are selling the same product. That's why ABSA was dragged for more than 3 years into court trying to fight that thing.
Same with Swallows. Same with
Swallows. With regard to Telkom, those things we need to educate ourselves that before we could blame and say is PSL has done it. But look at the laws. What does the law say? Does it allow that? So is khoza or Motaung wrong by implementing the laws that they all of them agreed to them on the PSL executive committee or the board of governors?
But Velile, isn't I like that you get there, because again, I asked the question, Oguti, Tina, outside we may have problems with things. Do our owners have the same problems? You know what I mean? Like, we argue about SAFA, for example. Jordaan win 200 votes to 20 when he wins, right? The people inside don't have a problem with these things. Is that also a reality that we have to come to Nati to say that our Nati is kulmela abo Swallows nabos banban? Until abantu inside they don't necessarily care. Inside it runs anyway it runs the way it's been running. Eating just kulmanga pan.
No. It's sometimes good to, when we have to address the issues of football, we become emotional and put our emotions before what the facts state. In SAFA, people are saying, no, why don't you allow Lucas Radebe to be the SAFA president or next professional players? Are they interested?
Yeah.
Are they interested?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're interested, what does the law for you to be president of SAFA, what does it say to be in that committee? You must be a member of a local association. Right? Are they members of that? If they are, then they can participate moving forward into SAFA, because at some ezinto you cannot just come in from just on top. If there are rules that are put there, if the Jordaan is going to extend his national executive committee from 1224 in a way good and going to say
247.
You see. So we cannot force people. If they're interested, they know the channels what they must do. We cannot parachute them. If the PSS stage, you said for the next 5 years, we are not going to allow the gambling companies to sponsor this thing. That's how it is for the next 5 years. Up until maybe we sit down and decide on an emergency committee and said, okay, guys, as much as we have agreed with this, can we amend here? And then everybody, remember, this is our business. Everybody can vote on that thing. So, okay, now we are voting on this, then we are lifting this, then we're introducing this sub-policy on this policy that we've adopted on our previous general meeting. So as it doesn't we can argue and say about Klopi and the other guys from Motaung, the causes must be now PSL. Look, are they look, for example, now we've got Klopi is the chairman of Mamelodi Sundowns. But he's not in the executive committee PSL. Unomamu Bridget Smelana representing Sundowns. Why he doesn't go? Why he's not going there as a chairperson? If now you're actually interested, you can see okay, he's showing interest. He's still learning, he's part of those people who are there. Then Nat is so believer because okay, we can see good now. He really now wants this now going forward. At the same time, now they must show it as much as they are family business, but they must show us. We must know them. I've never sometimes we know good like go pirates, we know the people that are saying is in charge. Yes, we see him go officer pirate. We see sometimes accept check Pirates my winning be final. But I've never seen him presenting or representing a PSL or talking like football knowledge or like football administration, like the wisdom ways of saying this is where I am in terms of my football understanding capability moving forward. They must come forward so we could see them. Because sometimes no bad, but Angazi presenting himself when it comes to football matters. Not only but Sundowns, but football and including the PSL as a whole moving forward and also being interested on something. See him. Good to see him, but okay, now he's there, he's presenting himself doing okay. Then we can be behind him now and say, okay, yeah, this guy, what is the Ukuluma sense when it comes to football? We can see his vision ayibonayo, but we have never seen all of them coming forward. We only see their fathers now. We are just talking, and Tina, just we want to put them there because they are but we have never seen them. They haven't come forward and present their full vision of football in South Africa.
Look, Mina, that's not even my issue. My issue for me is, again, what is the only, for me, the only reason why the PSL will change will be two things. It's either there's a revolution, somehow, some way, or the other one is that the money dries up. That's the only thing that will force people to do different to what they've done right now. And the reason why Uchemen stays as Uchemen is because it keeps the money flowing. Gucci, Danko Blue, people are living whatever. Guys, the money is flowing every month. You don't even have to worry. Some of them are even, you could even maybe say they're lazy a little bit. Uti, they know Uchemen will make the phone call. But again, you know, so that's why it's interesting to have these conversations about our football. But again, do the people that lead us or who are leading these teams care about this stuff? Team Sugazi Simbiza every day. Executive, do you think he cares? We don't know what he's put forward. We don't know what he's spoken about. Like you're saying, Abanya Spazi, we know about a couple of fights and we know how those things ended. Mara, for the most part, it's like everybody knows, Guti, this is the status quo. It's similar to, I don't want to get into politics, but it's similar to when you look at politics, for example. Yeah, you vote for your party. But the party has its own conference. All of them. They have their own conferences where their own delegates vote for their own things. Is that not just the reality, you know?
Yes, I think that's the reality that we live in. But that's why, I mean, as I said earlier on, Guti, it's so unfortunate because our PSL, it's just our football in South Africa is mostly family orientated. Whether we like it or not, we can from the grassroots level from Okdala, there's a location good team Brasbanban, you know, from under 15, under ban, up until profit. And that can transformed into even the professional side. Football is owned by a family. When I go to Jomo Cosmos, you know, there's Jomo, there's Matsilena, there's Pamuza there, who was introduced. Whether Motaung and the Khoza, Motsepe now, Trop is running the team. Even your committees, him and his brothers-in-laws, and
cousins.
So unfortunate. When I go to Chipo Fakumtanake Lapayana no band, it's injured.
Yeah. For time.
And that's the only structure, the only thing that allows them, besides the executive committee, the chairperson, and the financial committee, is it allows only them to hire outsiders in terms of like a PSL. It's so unfortunate the situation we don't know the reason why. And I'm not saying what is right, it's not right. But I don't know what's the reason
for time.
But their system allows them to, but whether we like it or not, that's their business. It's a members association's business. Normally it's Obanjalo.
Okay.
Rista sengayehla futhi
Time. Yeah, Rista tell unglamlele Rista mara. Let me go to time. Iting faka abanye abantwana.
Yebo sizoyikhuluma mina nawe kwenye indawo ungawathi mntakababo yazi nawe uthanda ukukhuluma. Abanye abo mina nawe khona ke singaboni ngasolini.
Hey, Montana. Because for life, welcome.
Hey, how's it?
Where do you sit to this conversation that we're having today?
That's an interesting conversation. Black people are not born to be leaders.
Yeah,
I will say they are leaders. Many of them. But we always speak at the wrong time with as that suits us. Because after we are fans with different clubs, and when we speak, kwi-statements zethu there's not gonna be a 100% truth. I-bias will always be there. As uvelile umntaka baba, sometimes he might be true what he's saying, but it's somewhere there's gonna be biased. Same to yellow, same to Dangaman. I don't see something wrong with leadership that is there. As a fan that is sitting there, have been watching EPSL growing to what it is today, to what we are able to talk about. That every month there's a grant that is coming to teams. It's been sustainable for all these years, and it's growing. A proof of that is a reflection to bafana. We cannot take credit to SAFA. Bafana has been built by the bricks of EPSL. Those players that are there, the administration, everything that is there, bafana, iqale pha kwi-PSL, le sithi Betway namhlanje. Whoever that we entrusted bamakabe phaya, which is ukhoza or Dr. Kaizer or Dr. Khoza, they've been doing a wonderful job. Sometimes othi uyakwazi uzixholela, ndiyathanda ukwenza imizekelo ke makhe. Uyothatha usisi pha engengonto embi pha umfake endlini engafunwa mntu, umfake iwevu umhlambe umfake endlini, bazazoyelo pha novelile bambona ngoku emhle ngoku, although bengabonwa pha. Ndimenzile ngowayile nto ayiyo, azawufika amadoda axela inja ezibona inja edumbileyo ezonkqonkqoza apha. This is what is happening, what I'm saying ku-PSL. Although thina as fans, i-job yethu, I still believe, is to foresee umsebenzi omhle that is being done by these gentlemen. But somehow we come with our politics, with our interest, because we support the Kaizer Chiefs, we support the Pirates, and see something that are wrong, which is the people that are there that have interest, which are the owners. You can't build something because whatever that is built there benefit those clubs, abo Golden Arrows, abo Chiefs, abo Pirates. So you can never go there. We lanto. Whatever interest that they have a best interest for illegal, not for only for illegal, for also those clubs, because the clubs that they own, or Dr. Khoza, no Dr. Kaizer, no Mama Jank, baya benefit nabo. Because if we say let's take someone outside.
So before you move on from that, I just want to ask you, what do you say to Abantu that will say, look at what happened with Royal AM, look at what happened with Celtic, look at what happened with Vert, Supersport, look at what's been happening with a lot of the teams that have been relegated, others have gone broke, others are struggling for sponsorships, others are struggling for all of these things. What do you say to the people that point to that and say, maybe it's not as perfect as we're saying it is, and maybe what works for them is that back on Uti, Kari last minute, Dr. Ivan Khoza can make a phone call, or Kari last minute, they can take away Kimang Mamki's disciplinary that side and say, no, we're giving you, come and buy Celtic, we'll allow you to buy Celtic 2 weeks before the league starts. What do you say to people that say that maybe those are a little bit of cracks that are showing maybe in the PSL? Oh, Heban. Okay, I'll ask the comments for now. I'll ask the comments. There's Swallows. Hey, Marayelo Plexi, Swallows. maybe let me see. How much time do we have? How much time do you have? I'm going to do this. Bongs, since Kabona Kare
Yes,
Montana
okay.
Ushapaki Betri Mole, we've heard what everybody has said. Where do you sit now?
No, ke batla to focus on one fact that you talked about. You threw Junior Motaung in this conversation. Now, he could be someone aka succeeding Ivan Khoza. Now, I just want to know if O Kenya Libitola Junior Motaung in this conversation, what has he done for Kaizer Chiefs besides making profit for the club only? What has he done for the club in terms of trophy wise? How lahlela yena in the conversation now al tshwantse e be yena succeeding Ivan Khoza?
No. Bongs, what I was saying was, if we're going to, the realistic thing here is that the successors of Ivan Khoza are going to be the kids, or the the kids of these teams. So Kaizer Jr., by virtue of being right now sporting director of Chiefs, son of Dr. Kaizer, at some point he takes over, or Bobby takes over, or Jess takes over to become the chairperson. They can even sit on the thing right now, right? You look at Abo Topi, you look at Abo C, Nezung, and all of these people. I don't think, again, it's a question of merit. For me, it's not going to be a question of merit. It's going to be a question now, but Tobana, they happen to be the kids of the people. This is a family business, so they're the ones that are probably going to step in over anybody else who's going to step in, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm not saying that he's going to, but I'm saying that he's got a very big chance if he wants to.
So basically what you are saying, Kore, he's got a legacy into running PSL.
All of them have got a legacy into running the PSL. All of them. PSL, remember, PSL board is made up of chair people of these teams.
Right.
Topi Motsepe is a chairperson. Or not even, you don't even have to send your chairperson. You can send anyone, actually. If you're just a member of the NSL, you can send anyone to go and be a representative on the board.
All right.
Topi could decide tomorrow that he wants to be chairperson, and at the next elective conference, he could be chairperson. It's family. He's Motsepe's son. Who's running Chiefs right now? Kaizer's kids. Who's running Amazulu right now? Tate Zungu is the chairperson. CEO is Sine. Who's running TDL? Who's running Black Leopards? TDL's kids. It's in house. It's their teams. It's their family legacies. Unfortunately or fortunately.
All right. Second question: why is government always putting their noses into PSL business, into football business? Because this thing never can never stop the sponsors to turn and government say to come and sponsor us would get us into being suspended or banned from football, because football, the government are not supposed to be linking together. We could be banned by FIFA because PSL is coming in.
Not if it's a law for the country. So the ban wasn't specifically for football. It was specifically to say that if you're a cigarette, remember, there was a law that came in where all of the cigarette manufacturers had to put, it's a law of the country. You can't contravene laws of a country, especially if it's for deemed as greater good. So the betting is deemed as was deemed as a greater good thing, that you cannot be advertising betting because we had a gambling problem in general in the country at the time. So the law is that don't advertise betting. It's not specifically to say football teams can't advertise betting, if that makes sense. So if it's a law of a country, even FIFA can't step in.
All right. Now I believe that it's time now we try and give the ladies a chance. Amanda Dlamini. Shouldn't we try and give them a chance to see if they can't be the next successors to Ivan Khoza?
They don't own teams. They're going to have to own a team.
So because is it a must for an... Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it a must for someone to own a club who is a successor Yeah, PSL.
You have to be part of a member of the clubs. That's why I was asking Guti, who are the people that are going to come in? So if Simpiwe Dludlu would want to be part of this, it would have to be a situation where, I don't know, Baroka appoints her officially as something in the club, and then they deploy her to the board of governors, and the people vote for her to get in, right? So it's still very outside still, but you have to be, yeah.
No, it's understandable. Sometimes there are things that I need to learn as well.
No, 100%. That's why I'm saying that a lot of the conversations we're having, unfortunately, these things, we have an idea of what the league is. So when we say the league is for everybody, it's not true. It's for the 32 member clubs in the association. So those guys decide, they vote, they do everything. It's this idea that we have. That's why I use the politics as an example. We have an idea that our vote is going to tell the ANC what to do. But your vote puts the ANC into power, and they go to an elective conference where they vote amongst themselves. You're not a voting member of the ANC, for example. So it's the same with football. We vote with our money. We vote with our attention. We vote with, it's on SuperSport. We give them viewership. They can go sell it. But in terms of running the league itself, it's got really nothing to do with us, honestly speaking, unfortunately.
All right. No, thanks for the information, Uti.
Let me go to Yellow Black Sheep. I want to come back to you. I want to bring Sinje in. Sinje, welcome to the show.
Yes, Mr. Otil. Yesterday, your network cut. Is everything fine that side? Hey.
Zinyoga. No, I'm kidding. No, we're good. We're good now. We're good now. Give me Wi-Fi next door. Yes, sir. No, I'm joking.
People are banking even Wi-Fi these days. Nipanga ma cigarette, nipanga ma good, nipanga na ma Wi-Fi. People must just behave.
CJ, I don't know how much of the conversation you've heard. Where do you sit in this whole conversation about the league, succession, how they're doing, is their plan, all of that?
I think league succession, I caught it in between, and team succession are two different things. There are two different things, and I don't think we can treat them as such. A team is a business, that is established by an individual. He buys a team with his own money. He gets board of directors, he gets investors, and they run it. So it's his business, He registers it. So the succession there would it would be a family business, or like any other family business. The owner or the father, whoever owns the business, will ensure that the reason why you start a business is for your family, to secure your family, and to ensure that success, that securement, it lives on forever. I'm sure when this overthinking thing goes overthinking, you want the little man one day to be a platform for where he has a choice of taking over as well, It's legacy that you are leaving behind for him as well, I mean, we are watching kids that we went to school with, about John, about Daniel, yeah, they when they go to varsity, it's just to equip themselves so that they can take over Gert's farm or business, whatever they're doing. So it's one of those things. But what I like with Ivan and Kaizer is that they brought their children in that environment. They didn't parachute them from nowhere. They've been part and parcel of the groundwork. I mean, you listen to Bobby when you hear stories of Bobby.
while he was going to school, he was part and parcel of the running of the team. So he knows the club in and out. So when he takes over the chairmanship, he's not being parachuted from England, from a private school in England. He comes in and he takes over the team. He's been part and parcel of the groundwork, and I like that, and I like that about Dr. Ivan Khoza and Dr. Kaizer Motaung as well.
Can
There
that be
are
a problem though, Sinje? Can that be a problem?
no, I don't foresee it being a problem.
No, in
In
the sense
particular,
that, in the sense that you grow up with, if you grow up within a system,
Yes.
you're part of the system. So if a system
Yes.
needs to change, can it come from you?
Yes, I strongly believe so. In particular, when you are equipped properly.
Okay.
The whole point it is to equip the successor with all the necessary tools that you would think they will need to run and take the organization or institution beyond where it is. Meaning that you give them all the necessary exposure, not just being part of the system itself, but also exposure outside the system as well. Education is key. We always say these things. Learned becomes the key to ensure that the succession plan that you have lives to see the day 1, 2. It actually takes the organization forward. The only sad part about it, there's Mr. Oti, there's advantages and disadvantages of having someone who's not within the system. There are advantages, I won't lie, but there are disadvantages as well. There are also advantages of being within the system and also not being exposed. It has a lot of disadvantages, but then you have to look at what are those advantages and what are those disadvantages as well. Then you can say, okay, I'm okay with these disadvantages, but I am not okay with the disadvantages of coming from outside, what it brings. But I'm okay with the disadvantages of someone that is within the system, that is known the system, that lacks probably other disciplines that come from other fields, that one can equip themselves. When you're getting a CEO or a chairman from SAA, from wherever, that person comes with other skills as well that can equip a chairman that can take a team moving forward. But what I like, Mr. Oti, is that there are also women that are within the football space that could probably not in the PSL, but in the lower leagues as well. I'm looking forward for them pushing those teams that one day we will have a PSL team that is owned by a lady. I mean, there's a trend. There's a trend. No, not Mamkiz. No, not Mamkiz. There's a lady that was trending where our Bafana coach was looking at that real balance.
She owns the team. Yes, I think it's
She owns the team. Yes, she owns the
as the coach. I think it is.
Yes, she owns a team, and she's been with that team from the trenches, and she has built that team to where it is. I'm looking forward to see that team come into the PSL one day, and she's not going to be the owner because she has money. Do you get what I mean? She loves the sport. She's been with the team. She has grown the team, and she's part and parcel of the culture of the team. She doesn't own it because she's got money. And we don't blame the Bafana coach, guys. Even if it was us, we would be there.
CJ, time. I wanna just take the last 10 minutes. I know I have Velile here still. Yellow Black Sheep, I wanted to ask you something. You had said in the comments about sponsorships, right? And I wanted to know, Ghana, what did you say in the comments now about the sponsorships, Yellow Black Sheep?
I was talking about the sponsors of whereby Silos was supposed to sponsor by Telkom. I forget the other one. Both of them were denied.
Velile, do you wanna just step in there for a second and just explain?
Yeah, no problem, Mr. OT. As I've said on my initial comment, that remember, EPSL in itself is got sponsors. EPSL in a sponsor of broadcasting right with EE or Canal 4 Plus, my teaching multi-choice or dstv Canal Manch. In a sponsor of broadcasting, which cinema regulations were in terms of like how are the rights of broadcasting are channeled in terms of broadcasting all the clubs and the matches that are there from the PSL, and it's got a restriction. The PSL has got a sponsorship, my Betway, of which previously it was before DSTV, it was the ABSA Premiership. In a sponsor, my Sekaling Black Label, in a sponsor Nedbank, in a sponsor MTN 8. And the professional supplier majangas between Castle or Black Label in a supply on the PSL side also. So those sponsors come with their own rules and regulations. So as the member of PSL, anyone also told a sponsor, he needs to bring that proposal, a sponsorship back to EPSL for approval. And then PSL, what does it do when it got that sponsorship from those teams? They look into the sponsorship Lesos Tola as a team. It doesn't interfere with the rules and regulation of their main sponsors that are there as sponsoring
It doesn't clash. It's not competition.
There is no competition. They don't clash. On the issue, Telkom, remember, it was an issue. Telkom, it was an issue. What was this gambling thing?
No, it
was Gold Rush. It was Gold Rush.
It was Gold Rush. Yes.
Yes, and second, it was Telkom. On the Gold Rush deal, it was the same deal as per Sports Pairs as Egypt Cape Town, because there was a standing rule that was implemented by EPSL in 2010 of saying the PSL teams for now, they are prohibited from taking from a gambling companies to sponsor a PSL club. That was the rule, of which was agreed by all of them, including about John committees and everyone who was there in that PSL executive committee when it comes to sports betting companies. But when it comes to Telkom, remember, Telkom is also like a mobile company, and they also got their own television, a streamer. They wanted to use some of the Swallows matches to be broadcasted on their stream, good Telkom. So of which it clashes now, because the broadcasting rights of Swallows are paid to a DSTV, and then DSTV has to approve on that thing of that deal to go through. But if DSTV is going to decline because it clashes, because remember they've paid billions to acquire those rights, so they cannot be in competition with them in terms of broadcasting amateur Swallows and other thing that they have to do with regard to Swallows Football Club as the competition is to DSTV. So that's why that deal in Nakondo was declined. I said, okay, you can proceed in a deal, but this clause and these things that must be removed from the sponsorship. And now, Telkom, they still part. These things, as far as is removed, they're adding value into our own sponsorship. So we cannot remove them. So in all, then we have to cancel all of them.
And Telkom didn't want to go to the rights holder, which is SuperSport.
Yes.
So if they wanted to broadcast matches, the Swallows, they'd need to go to strike. Similar with SABC. SABC has to go to SuperSport and say, guys, can we strike a deal where we pay X amount and we're allowed to show certain matches? Telkom didn't want to do that. They wanted to force it through via Swallows, which went against the deal that the PSL has with the main broadcaster who holds the rights. So a lot of the time when a sponsor is declined, it's usually because they're clashing. So I saw somebody, I saw somebody mention FNB.
Okay.
FNB. No. I was saying FNB was wanting to sponsor a team in the ABSA Premiership. So what happens is ABSA paid for the rights, the naming rights of the league, to put their stuff all there. They can't now allow somebody who's not giving them any money themselves, a competitor, to be on the field advertising their brand, if that makes sense.
On their space.
On their space that they paid for.
Yeah, it also
they didn't want what?
It also, but Yellow?
You said ABSA didn't want...
So it's like this. It's like this, Yellow Black Sheep.
The FNB sponsorship from Cape Town City, it contradicted with the article here asked, because the ABSA, remember, was the main sponsor, the ABSA Premiership. So if now we are going to have the FNB sponsoring Cape Town City, and remember now, the difference now with FNB comes already PSL says sponsor ABSA. Remember, those things are two financial institutions and they are selling the same product. So now we are going to advertise, because the T-shirt where HF's Cape Town, they're going to have branded the FNB on their front, but advertising on the platform which has been paid for by ABSA on the ABSA Premiership. Remember, ABSA has bought those rights for ABSA Premiership for 5 years at the rate of 500 million. So they cannot allow FNB to advertise on the platform that they've provided for a Premiership. That was the conflict that was there. Not to say good.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
Yes, put.
If ever FNB sponsoring Cape Town City is a conflict, how is it FNB Stadium not a conflict?
Okay. FNB Stadium, they've got a naming right. They've got a naming right, FNB. Those are different. There's totally two different rights. There's a right of naming, there's a right of a sponsorship, and there's the branding rights. They differ. FNB, the only sign you want FNB Mountain is a gate in FNB. That's FNB Stadium. I suffer even Nakdal whereby there's a branding FNB, the colors of FNB, that light blue and white thing. If you come inside the FNB Stadium,
you're going too far. During the World Cup, it was called Soccer City. Because FIFA said we're not going to allow you to use the FNB branding on our event without actually giving money. So you find a lot of places, like for example at Tux, there was a Vodacom, was it Vodacom? There's an ABSA sponsor. When they play Varsity Cup at LC De Villiers, they have to cover all of the things that say ABSA. For example,
it's the same thing with Loftus and the MTNA. That's they're still arguing about it. That's not the same thing.
Ngifuna ukuya lapho wena Velile, ngifuna ukukubonisa something. Yabona, you are coming right where I wanted you. There is a problem with a Vodacom stadium, which is Loftus, but there is no problem with Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates sponsored by Vodacom playing MTN Cup. There is no problem with FNB Stadium, but there is a problem with Cape Town City being written FNB. So, ibakuti my society in Gabon. Always.
Besides that, can I just jump in and say, you do know that the people vote Yellow Black Sheep as well. So every rule and contradiction that happens is also voted on. That's why some of them can be overturned. So it goes back to that question I was asking, Guti. You have a problem with that, or you see it as a problem, but does your team see it as a problem? Because when the executive sits down and votes and changes things, all 32 teams have a vote. If that makes sense.
On another side, when I put OT to answer Uputu Yedola. Look, Chiefs, the MTN, when it came in to sponsor MTN 8, Chiefs and Pirates, they were already sponsored by Vodacom.
Loftus was already there.
Wait, yes, a lap. Chiefs and Pirates was already sponsored by Vodacom when MTN came in, They knew that. It's like standard. It's the ABSA when it came in. Chiefs and Pirates were sponsored on their arm. They were sponsored by Standard Bank. But it did proceed because it came into and it has to allow that nice sponsor to happen. Loftus Stadium, remember, Loftus, it was Loftus Stadium, but it was rebranded. I think it was 4 years or 5-6 years ago when the Vodacom Blue Bulls now, if Vodacom sponsored them, and then they rebranded the whole thing, including the Loftus Stadium, and that's where you've seen Loftus. Those branding of Vodacom were Loftus Boang Echo before. If understand, there was a time that branding.
I'm laughing.
Okay,
No,
but the branding before Loftus,
but it's the thing
they
that
went
happened. Yeah.
That's why I put the Zoom cards. It's not only those deals that were declined. Remember, in a deal about the outsurance, it has to that deal has to be cancelled. It was in and out called the PSL and ABSA and their financial, and including the Nedbank at that particular time. They couldn't allow it. Was ISAFA wanted to impose the outsurance including their gears. That deal was cancelled because it also contradicted with the rules the PSL and its sponsors. It's not only its sponsors such as HF's Cape Town and Swallows that were cancelled. There are so many sponsors that were declined before.
Guys, the things the things that I highlighted this thing, it's not that I don't have a knowledge of what you are talking to me. It's
Yeah.
just that I wanted to highlight those things to show you how much do we need a change in the leadership of PSL, because of certain things need to be changed. And they don't need to stay that way forever, because now look like masibheka thina singaphandle singabantu, we are the consumers, the supporters. It seems as if it supporters certain teams, certain support. You understand? Because after Cape Town City was stopped to sponsored by Sports Pace, fast forward 3 months, not 6 months, 3 months, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates announced Sports Bet as their main sport, as their sponsors, and it was labeled as a new innovation by media, by papers, by everyone. It was a new innovation now because it was on the Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. But when it was on on Cape Town Spurs, was labeled otherwise. So
But
those
they
are
had
the things
it,
that I'm
but-
trying to
but,
show you, Uti.
But
I'm trying to say,
But
I'm trying
Yellow
to
Black
say
Sheep,
the laws
yeah.
of PSL need to be changed, and it
But-
needs new leadership to do that.
Mara Yellow Black Sheep, listen to this. Remember, there was also a time when they all voted to now allow those things to happen, because it wasn't just
Yes.
SuperSport Bet. 10 Bet was also
It
allowed.
started with Safa.
Cape Town, yeah, Safa.
It's
Yeah,
Safa,
Safa
that's
with Hollywood
that's when they were
Bets.
introduced. Yes.
And Sport Pesa sponsors Cape Town City. Sport Pesa was a sponsor of Cape Town
Yes.
City. So they were also allowed back in to have that thing once the laws changed in the country. So Sport Pesa even now is still a sponsor of Cape Town City right now.
Yes, it's
So-
back now.
No, it's been since. It's been since. The fight with Sport Pesa was. Can I even say this? No, let me not say this.
He
But
won it
remember
on the OT check. OT check. There was a law. There was a case, and then Cape Town City won the case. But still,
Yes.
after winning the case, they changed from Sports Pesa to FNB.
Yeah,
But-
and
but
then,
Yellow-
Sports Pesa is coming back
no,
now.
They
Wait,
didn't
wait,
change.
wait,
Whoa,
but
whoa,
on
whoa.
that, but on that case,
Yeah.
remember on that case, the Cape Town City they only won the case because that's why sometimes I'm saying it depends good leadership. Who are you going to put there in terms of leadership? Because remember, Sisonke as the PSL executive committee, and then we've got a law that we've drafted for the organization, and we allow ourselves, this is the law that we're going to use. But now, because if you want it to suit you personally, then you want to come and change this law when individually. But you agreed, all of us agreed there. With this the law. Because remember, that law, wait, OT.
Mtakababa.
Mina
Mtakababa.
ngilaleya Sport
Mtakababa.
Pesa.
Mtakababa.
Take a
Mtakababa. Mtakababa.
Wait,
Ngicela
guys.
ukukukhumbuza something. Ngicela
Angithi-
ukukukhumbuza. Ngicela
Maka-
ukukukhumbuza
For
something.
peace sake. Whoa,
Mtakababa.
guys. Whoa,
Mtakababa.
guys.
Ngicela
Guys.
ukukukhumbuza something.
Hey, hang on. Time out. Whoa, guys. For peace
Eh,
sake,
Uthi.
please. One at a time, guys. Vela niyazi
Okay.
lana
Uthi.
asiyenzi lezi.
Okay, bengicela ukukhumbuza one thing. One thing is that, do you remember what John Comita said when he was in Robert Marawa show one day? He said he won't be told by the owner of another team how to run the team. And by that time, he was the member of ESCO. And as
But-
Cape Town City was sponsored by Sports Pace.
Can I just
That's
say
when
something?
that's when they were going to cases.
Mara Yellow Black Sheep, after the thing happened.
But I wanted to answer
Sport-
that thing,
it's-
OT, before we end.
Wait, guys. Sports
Uthi, I just
Pesa,
heard-
Sport Pesa was always sponsoring Cape Town City. They only now recently, because of what happened with Cape Town City, moved from a secondary sponsor to the main sponsor. This one, I can't say who I speak to, but they were always sponsoring, and then they became a secondary sponsor. Remember, also sponsors are tiered. So Toyota is a sponsor of Kaizer Chiefs on the sleeve versus Vodacom, who's the sponsor on the front of the jersey, versus for example, Suzuki doesn't appear on the Pirates jersey, for example. So they were always there after that change was made. So when 10Bet came in, when SuperSport Bet came in, and like SuperSport Bet was even later. 10Bet was actually one of the first ones. Chiefs and Pirates only jumped in much later with the betting sponsor. 10Bet, Hollywood Bets, all of those guys came in. Sport Pesa, that all of them came back in at the same time. So it was then when things changed, they voted, they allowed it in, then everybody was allowed to have it, and all of them came back with it. It's just that by the time Sport Pesa was then allowed officially to do it, they couldn't be a main front sponsor.
And also to add on a statement, remember at that particular time when it was not allowed for betting companies to sponsor, and when it was even introduced, there was no law specifically for PSL, but it was agreed in 2010. Clubs in the PSL are prohibited. Well, it was the PSL taking decision on its own committee, including its own committees inside that committee. And why did they agree, all of them, that we are not going to allow our teams to be sponsored by the betting companies? Everybody must follow that rule. It doesn't mean good now because now you feel as if now it must happen now because you want it. Suddenly everything is going to change. Go back to the committee on the board of governors every 5 years. Present your proof that is there, because even though there was no specific rules prohibiting sponsors, betting companies from becoming sponsors, but the PSL requesting that even all clubs, they must seek permission even first before you could inquire those sponsors. But Cape Town guys, they didn't do that. They come and just announce those sponsors without the PSL approval. That was the main problem, because there's a standing resolution that was taken on the board of governors meeting with those things. For now, they are not allowed. Please wait while we deliberate on them, and then you come tomorrow and say they've got the sponsors, of which now it contradicts with what was created and even the rules of the competition.
Guys, for time, Boggs, you wanted to ask something?
I wanted to know, was it a conflict of interest for Vodacom, since it was sponsoring Chiefs and Pirates, to clash with Vodacom Park, which is now known as Toyota Stadium?
No, so even those things are separate. So stadium naming doesn't always clash with the main sponsor, but also depending on what you sponsor. So if you are the main naming rights owner of the league, like Betway is right now, Betway could decide tomorrow that, look, as part of our deal, or when they negotiated, we're going to come in, we're not allowing any other betting stuff to appear. But then if it's like an MTN 8 where you are only sponsoring a competition, your control is a little bit less than what it would be if you are a main sponsor. So that's why, like with cups and stuff, it all depends on how powerful you are as a sponsor, what your deal is with the PSL. Usually the naming rights guys have more power because they put more money in. So Betway is giving 900 million to the PSL over 3 years. If they decide tomorrow that, guys, we're going to withdraw this thing if you don't allow, which it's actually what happened with ABSA. ABSA, even if they lost that case, they said to the PSL guys, listen, dog, Tidage, if this is how it's going to be, we'd much rather leave than to stay here.
It's the same thing, Mr. OT, when the CAF was sponsored by Orange. Remember, Chiefs and Pirates, when they participating there before, their Vodacom logo was not on their front T-shirt when the CAF was sponsored by Orange. Remember, Pirates, when they played those finals, the T-shirt was just black without any Vodacom emblem up front. It depends. If the sponsors say we don't allow this, they can do that.
Bengifuna ukuthi kini before sivala mtakababa, do you know ukuthi the sponsor that we are raving ukuthi size no Mr. Khoza asizanga naye actually?
Which one?
Betway wanted to sponsor Sundowns. So because of this conflict, what betting company Sundowns yamisa iBetway kancane. So then iPSL mayilahlekelwa isponsor. Babu Khoza basathi bakhuluma no Babu Motsepe. Babu Motsepe wathi, no, there is a company that wanted to sponsor me, which is Betway. Ungahlangana naye wakhuluma naye. That's how Betway became a main sponsor of PSL. Allegedly, okay, allegedly.
You see the difference between Babu Motsepe and John committees. What happened there on what you've just said? On what you've just said between
no, I do see it. I do see it. Angithi abantu bakaMotsepe baya respect. And then before OT avala cela ngiphi isikhathi ngifuna ukwadressa something.
Guys, I've already gone over.
OT ngicela ukwadressa lento lokugcina nyaphuma. There is somebody
guys.
who said
How?
there is somebody who said the leadership some others were parachuted. And then I want to correct him. Angati Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates, they were only leaders. Abathatha abantwana babo babafundisa. Motsepe taught his son. Umntana kaMotsepe was a manager. Abantwana baga Sismanto bebakhona ku Arus. Nabazulu. Angati they were parachuted. Angati they were parachuted. He must withdraw that statement.
Time.
Bye-bye.
Guys, I'm going to go to bed now. We've gone over.
Bye-bye.
We'll be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. To discuss something else. Hey. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all of those very nice things. I drop content every day. I've got an episode of my podcast that came out today, so please check it out. Please go and look at, what I was speaking about today. I was speaking about... the fact that African football needs to expand a little bit. So please like that, comment, and all of that really nice stuff on all of the different ones. And if you see a sponsor, like I always say, if you see a sponsor, anything, if you see a logo, guys, like, comment, share. This is how we eat. So please support. I've got a video with Absa and Visa with Ronwen. Thank you to everybody the numbers were great. Thank you to everybody that watched and liked. Please go and watch and like and comment some more on that one. I've got a couple of ones that I've done before that. Guys, I'll see you guys then tomorrow at 8 p.m. Bye everyone.